All right. On est gain notre chanson, ils s'appellent les Zydeco et pas salé. Oui. There's no salt in your snap bean.
Clifton Chenier is, and always will be, the undisputed king of Zydeco. Like Elvis and like Sam Cooke, Clifton Chenier crafted a music from pieces of tradition, taking the sound of his father's generation of Creole accordionists and making it new. Chenier was born on the 25th of June, 1925 in the farming country outside of Opelousas, Louisiana, in the heart of Acadiana. He and his brother Cleveland would hear their father and other musicians in the area play what was known as la-la music, the accompaniment to house parties and picnics played on the single-row accordion with guitar, washboard, and perhaps a fiddle. Clifton doesn't seem to have played much music himself before 1947 when he was given his first accordion. He took it with him that year when he moved to Lake Charles and took a job at the Gulf Oil Refinery. His uncle, Morris Big Chenier, a guitarist and fiddler, ran a club at Lake Charles. Soon Clifton and his brother Cleveland on the scrubboard of Fautoir began to play dances back in the country, as well as in oil towns. Clifton began crafting the sound that would be Zydeco and worked it out in the clubs and parties of the Louisiana and Texas Gulf Coast in the early 1950s. He married his lifelong companion Margaret in those years and still had to supplement his musical income with labor around the oil refineries. He was playing on the streets of Port Arthur in 1954 when Los Angeles talent scout J.R. Fulbright walked up to see who had drawn such a large crowd. He signed Chenier to his Elko label and took him into the KAOK radio station in Lake Charles and recorded several tunes, including what would be Clifton's first record. Zydeco's strongest audiences remained in the Louisiana and Texas Gulf Coast region, and in 1958, Clifton Chenier returned home. He cut several records in Crowley, Louisiana, aided by strong regional performers like Katie Webster and Lazy Lester. But by 1960, when he settled in Houston's Frenchtown section, the glory years of national fame seemed behind him. The glory days of traditional blues were at hand. In 1959, Sam Charters recorded local bluesman Lightning Hopkins for the prestigious Folkways label. Hopkins was married to Clifton Chenier's first cousin, Antoinette, and everywhere he went he sang the praises of Chenier and his Zydeco music. Hopkins' persistence paid off in 1964 when he persuaded Chris Strackwitz of our Hooley Records to come to hear Clifton Chenier in one of Houston's Frenchtown clubs. Strackwitz liked what he heard and took Chenier into Gold Star Studios for the first of many recording sessions. The Beatles were making their first appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show that month, but Clifton Chenier was beginning an even more unlikely road to national and even international fame. Chenier played live dates in Berkeley for student crowds and for the dislocated Creole communities in Richmond and other California towns. He opened for rock stars and traveled to Europe as a part of the American Folk Blues Festival put on by Strackwitz, and played alongside blues legends like John Jackson, Magic Sam, Earl Hooker, Carrie Bell, and Juke Boy Bonner. It was on a return trip to Europe in 1971 that Chenier claimed his title as the King of Zydeco and began sporting the crown that would become his trademark. Stateside, his fame was spread further when filmmaker Les Blank saw him perform with Lightning Hopkins and decided to make a film about him. That film, Hot Pepper, was released in 1973 along with the companion film Dry Wood that focused on the older style of Creole music played by Bois Sec Artois, whose uncle's recordings from the 1920s and 30s had first inspired Chenier. By the mid-70s, he began to see further evidence of that artistry taking root, with Zydeco serving as a centerpiece to celebrations of French heritage in Louisiana, and soon his own son, C.J. Chenier, would join the band. The honors continued to mount. He was awarded a National Heritage Fellowship in 1984, the same year he was awarded a Grammy for Best Traditional or Ethnic Recording for an album called I'm Here, and he also played at the White House. I'm coming home. There had been sadness too, like the song he wrote and recorded for his mother back in 1969, only to have her die before she could hear it. And there had been health problems, including a kidney condition that plagued him throughout much of the late 1970s. In the 80s, each tour seemed to take its toll, and Clifton Chenier began to rely more and more on his son to lead the band as he battled with a weakening body. Finally, on December 12th, 1987, the King of Zydeco passed on. At the funeral, C.J. Chenier sang his father's song, his grandmother never heard I'm Coming Home.
I'm coming home, 'cause I feel so all alone. I'm coming home, coming back home, but then I'm alone.
Today, C.J. Chenier and countless others continue to play the music that Clifton Chenier made and called Zydeco. As the elder Chenier told Anne Savoy, in 1955, when I started playing big dances, nobody around here was playing the accordion anymore. They gave it up. But I kept it going, and now everybody want to play accordion.
Clifton Chenier! Let's have it for Clifton Chenier! Your own Louisiana pride and joy! Clifton Chenier! Clifton Chenier!
One thing he tell me all the time, say, you want to play accordion? I say, yeah. Say, well, I'm going to tell you something, son. If you're going to be something, be something. And if you're going to be nothing, be nothing. But if you learn how to play that accordion, I want you to do one thing. I said, what? Don't let nobody beat you. Don't let nobody get ahead of you with your style, you know? I said, well, I don't believe you have to worry for that.
Let's do the Zydeco. That's what we're gonna do. Let's do the Zydeco. That's what we're gonna do. I want you to know I'm the Zydeco old man. Let's do the Zydeco. That's what we're gonna do. Let's do the Zydeco, y'all. That's what we're gonna do. I want you to know I'm the Zydeco old man. I've been to Moscow.